Hello. I just want to start off with a couple Bible verses. Um, in no particular order, and just single-handedly like Bible verses. So in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15, it says, "But speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Christ." 1 John 3:18, "My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth." John 8:32, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." John 14:6, "Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father, but by me." Ephesians 4:25, "Wherefore, putting away all lying, speak every man truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another." Then again in Ephesians 4, verse 29, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers." Zechariah 8:16, "These are the things that ye shall do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates." John 17:17, "Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth." Now I say all this because the truth shall set you free is something that I'm a firm believer in. Now, quick side note is, I'm a two-time felon. I have a past that's not the greatest, and I thank God for removing me from the way that I trained myself wrongfully and willingly, and teaching me his ways. And by teaching me his ways, that means I have to be teachable. I have to want to be taught. I have to be willing to get out of my own way. This is the truth. And this is also a Bible. It's still the truth. And it sets me free if I allow it to. And so, I'm human and I fall short. And I just want to encourage anybody. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. No matter what. Now, back to me being a two-time felon, a sinner saved by grace, because of, like I said, me training myself wrongfully. I was in jail, I don't know, for just under a year before I was almost done with going to trial. Not to trial, just to go into court. And I was going for sentencing after meeting with my lawyers. We came to the conclusion that all I had to do was go to court this last time and basically just shake my head yes and say yes. Plead guilty. And so it came down to the judge saying, Mr. Jarrett Gardner, on this date, at this time, at this place, you were found in possession of these things with the intent to do this thing. How do you plead? I said, not guilty. what exactly they said to me was, as far as what I thought, not true. So I said I'm not guilty. That's like, I'm guilty of other things, but I'm not guilty of that. Now, to break it down even more specific, I have 2 manufacturing methamphetamine charges that I'm guilty of, and then a possession charge as well. So I was already a 1-time felon at this point. This is me becoming a 2-time felon, I guess. So they said, on this date, at this time, at this place, you are in possession of these things with the intent to manufacture methamphetamine. And I said, no. I said, not guilty. Because that statement right there is not true. Now, any other time, depending on where I was at, I would have been guilty of that exact statement. This place, making meth. Absolutely. No problem. No problem saying, yeah, I was there making meth. But this time, it really wasn't like that. I was somewhere where meth was being made. So, the way it was worded, I didn't feel like saying guilty was a truthful statement. Like I said, any other time if they would ask me that question under that scenario, absolutely, yeah, I was making meth, but not that day. So I said not guilty. My lawyer and like everybody in the courtroom kind of looked at me like, bro, you're just supposed to say yes. I said, but it's not true. And so I went back to jail for like 3 or 4 months. While I was in jail, I looked up the law's definition of manufacturing methamphetamine, like the law library version of the question they asked me for clarification. Now, go figure that my lawyer was already under the knowledge of knowing the definition. So, according to the definition of the law library, which is basically what the court systems and everything are going to go by, mind you, I didn't know this. The definition, I'm going to paraphrase it, but part of it is word for word. Definition of manufacturing methamphetamine in New York State is with the knowledge or intent. So, I knew where I was and what was going on. There's an or intent. I didn't have no or intent. Not that day. If it was or super high, yeah, guilty. But no, or intent, not applicable. Knowledge, absolutely applicable. So, with that being a sentence with a comma, or, and then a period, or intent and then a period, half that sentence wasn't true, but guess what? For the whole definition, I'm guilty. Once I understood that, when I went back 3 or 4 months later, I said, yeah, I'm guilty. So, our interpretation and our definition of the word truth has to be based off something. I had to go back and look it up by their own definition. What is truth? So, that was the current scenario. What is truth, right? This is my definition of truth in every way, shape, or form. Whether I understand it or not. Now, when I was in that court scenario, I didn't quite understand what the definition was. But I went back and I researched what their baseline, or according to their own definition, what I was or was not guilty of. I didn't want to blindly say I was guilty for something I didn't do. I have no problem taking the rap for something I did, or something I participated in, or something that was like a guilty by association. Like if somebody's spray painting the bank building and I'm with them, guess what? I'm guilty, even if I didn't have a can of spray paint in my hand at all. If I just drove the person there, whatever. I'm still guilty in one way, shape, or form. Alright? I went to court months and months and months and months before that for an unrelated charge for driving without a license. Got pulled over, told the guy, I don't have a license. He goes, license, registration? I don't have one. I have an ID. Gave him my ID. Does anybody have a license? Nope. Can you call somebody? So we're going to have to call two people. Because somebody's going to have to drive a car here. Someone's going to have to drive our car out of here. So we need two licensed drivers. Officer was really nice about it. I ended up getting a ticket, inadequate headlamp for a license plate, and then obviously aggravated unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle. Go to court for that. The judge, I get it. They wanted to reduce my charge to something of a lower fine and a lower crime. I get in front of the judge, and she was very, very excellent. She goes, I suggest that you plead not guilty and we reduce the charge to something else. It'll be less money that you have to pay for the crime you committed. I'm like, that's cool. Anybody who's been to court, they know that's just how it works. They'll tell you not to plead guilty on a speeding ticket and you'll get it reduced to some other type of whatever, right? It's a cop-out. It is. Even when I got convicted of my second time felony of manufacturing methamphetamine and possession, I had a plea deal, which was a global plea from a bunch of like petty larceny, breaking order protections, impersonation, whatever it's called, saying I'm somebody I wasn't, and a few other things combined with my felonies. Sure, add it to it. I get it. But it takes it all up in one, and then you plead for me personally, they took my A2 felony of possession. Manufacturing was not higher than possession. Alright? Get that, right? You're making a drug or you are in possession of a drug. Poll survey says, which one do you think is a worse charge or worse in general? I mean, almost everybody I've even ever asked that, they would say making the drug. That makes sense. It's the possession in my case, but I'm also in New York State. Anything over 4 ounce, I can't get the number right. I think it's anything over a certain amount. I'll say it like that. Anything over a certain amount is an A2 felony here in New York for a stimulant. Alright? Anyway, so the judge for the unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle suggested that I plead not guilty and get it reduced to a lower charge. I told her I appreciate what you're doing. Give me the time or the fine for the crime that I committed. I don't want it reduced to something that I didn't do. Like, cool, I get pulled over. Mind you, it's the first time I've been pulled over and gotten a ticket in like 8 or 9 years of driving without a license. Whoop-de-doo. I got away with all sorts of stuff driving without a license up until that point. And then, my luck, I get pulled over because I offer to drive for somebody who's fallen asleep at the wheel, who asks if somebody else can drive. Nobody wants to drive because they don't have a license, but mind you, somebody lets us borrow their car anytime when we want to go do something illegal and we don't have a license. I'm telling you, okay, me personally, yeah, I'll drive your car, no problem. I love driving. I never stopped driving until that day. That was like really one of the last times that I drove illegally. That was the last time I drove illegally, because shortly after that, that's when my felony happened, my second one. So I go to court and they're like, reduce it. I said, nope, I'm guilty of this. I want to be charged for this. Because it was the truth. And I appreciate her kind gesture of trying to skew the truth in order to reduce the pockets that I had to reduce. Like, it'll be less of a fine. whatever I did, I want to be rightly judged for the things that I have done. And it didn't make sense to people. But it made sense to this. Because not too long after that, I started having a change in my life that my conscience just like started to bleed and like weigh heavy on me for things that I had done. And it wasn't even like guilt. It was more just like conviction, which I guess you could say is sort of a feeling of guilt. But it was like, it was a movement towards like, I want to be better in the areas that I'm weak in. And when I'm weak, God is strong. So I had to, I guess, you could say I had to let Jesus take the wheel. Pun intended, especially with the driving without a license charge. Somebody had to take the wheel. I couldn't, I just got arrested. I gotta take it, I didn't get arrested. But I say all that long-winded stuff to just like encourage people to tell the truth. I used to tell a lot of lies where my lies had lies, and then I had to make up lies about the lies that had lies. And that's a lot of effort. And there was a lot of like people pleasing in those lies. I didn't want to hurt people's feelings, but I didn't want to like take away from what I really believed or really felt was true. And so, I'll tell you what, it is way more fun telling the truth. If somebody asks you if this dress makes me look fat, tell them the truth. But also, be able to give them a dress, or at least provide options for a dress that don't make them look fat. Or be able to duck and weave real quick. Just saying. Like, be able to block if you're going to speak the truth. People don't like it. They want it, but they don't like it. They can't handle the truth. Well, it's not my fault. You don't know how to tighten up your pants and walk straight. We all want these things, but when we get them, we can't handle them. But we can. It's just something we're not used to. Unfortunately, I wish that we were used to it. I don't know if we ever will. Truth hurts. Emotions suck. But at the same time, hopefully we get stronger through it. You know, you might be slipping up in life and someone comes along and says, hey man, I really care about you, man. You're not doing too good. And it's obvious what's going on. You're like, I don't want to talk about it. Okay. And when someone doesn't want to talk about, say, a specific topic, a convicting topic, or maybe even, I don't know, some type of sin in all the varieties, like insert sin here type conversation. Me personally, having the conversation with somebody, I have to respect the fact that they might not want to talk about it. They might not be ready to talk about it. But I will never stop extending the offer. I have to hold my hand out like this, kind of, metaphorically. And if they want to come and grab it, they'll come and grab it. I just have to basically turn my, hey man, are you alright? I see you're looking kind of rough. This coming from the dude that went to the judge the day I got my second felony. I went there in my underwear. Like literally my underwear, no shirt. If you look up my mugshot, Jarrett Gardner, methamphetamine, DeKalb Junction, New York. Type it in, you'll see. I look back at it and I laugh as like maybe a defense mechanism, but it was also the best day of my life. Didn't feel it at the time, but it really was. I wouldn't take it back for anything. I could care less how it happened that day because I know how it happened. When you're in jail, you get in trouble, you got all sorts of thoughts that you're not even able to friggin' think about correctly. You're thinking, he said, she did this, the dog did this, and the cat was setting me up. They're just like, I don't know, super illogical thoughts. Thing is, I screwed up. People, places, and things, however you want to put it. I put myself in a scenario that was risky, and I just happened to draw the short end of the straw that day. But you know what? I still am to this day, currently, as we speak, paying for my actions. My consequences are here. It could have been worse. I could not be here. I could be dead. And I'm not saying prison is worse. I honestly believe that prison would have been a very easy route for me to go, because could have went to prison, getting transferred, whatever, boom, boom, get to a spot, parole board, and now I'm out into freedom again, limited freedom, freedom to do what I'm told again. You know, I'm currently on the whole freedom to do what you're told, because I need to be told what to do. This is what needs to tell me what to do. But I got to get into this in order to be told what to do. And I have to be willing to hear the things that I might not want to hear, but I need to hear. What do you think parents are supposed to do? What do you think people that love you are supposed to do? Friends, family. If my cats could talk, they could probably tell me some things about me that I might not want to hear. Be like, shut up, I don't want to talk about that, bro. Who are you? I saw you eating the kitty litter the other day, so don't even tell me about doing things that are just out of this world and weird. The cat would be like, meow, meow. I get it. At the same time, if somebody is going down a path that is not the greatest, it is love to tell those people in a loving way that, hey man, are you, like, however you got to do it. So with people not wanting to, like, talk about convicting sin, right? Things that we might not be doing that are correct. And I hate hearing, I dislike hearing the, well, that's your point of view. I get it if I am talking to somebody who is not saved and does not believe the Bible. I get it, because my point of view, hopefully, will be wholeheartedly based off this. And if I'm talking to somebody that's not basing their truth off this, I understand. But when it comes to another Bible-believing person saying that they believe this 100%, that's a different scenario to me. But this should speak to them. But in order for them to hear this thing speak to it, they've got to get into it and get out of this. Just saying. You know, I will help anybody if I can, but they have to be willing to be helped. I wasn't willing to be helped for a long time. My dad, who's got buku years of sobriety, tried to get through my head, aside from being my dad, like being my dad and then also being like a recovering person in recovery. I identify as a person in recovery. How's that for a pronoun? No, for real. So I wasn't even letting it come in one ear and go out the other. I was batting that right before, like, oh, word's coming, poof, get it out. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it, don't want anything to do with it. Until I got to a point. Now, before I got in trouble for the last time, now listen, I'm in trouble every day. I'm alive. I'm in trouble. I'm doomed. I'm cursed. But he just went a little less hardcore but more loving on his approach until the day I finally decided that I'd be willing to ask for help and just get out of my own way. But he never gave up. And prayer helped a lot with that. So many people since I've gotten sober that I've finally gotten a chance to reunite with have been like, dude, I was praying for you the whole time. People I didn't even know knew I existed. I mean, I'd maybe say hi to some of these people at church every now and then, or I might have known them through social media, but I didn't really like have a relationship with them, but they were praying for me. It made me cry. I remember the first time I went to church, back up to where I'm from, because I came up one time and a few people came up to me and had some good conversations, and they said, dude, I've been praying for you. I was praying for you the whole time. And I was like, dude, thank you, because God answers prayers. And it is through prayer that I got help, because the day I realized that I had to get out of my own way and I didn't know how to, I think that's the day that the willingness and the desperation tapped into something. Maybe I tapped into that, sorry. I would definitely tap willingness and inspiration
I'd tap that. No, for real though, because I had to be willing to allow God to do whatever He wanted to do with me. It basically came to a point where I was like, God, my life sucks. I can't do this anymore. And it's not like I was suicidal. I was just like, I can't do this anymore, and I don't know how to stop. I've tried, and I always like try to micromanage things, and it's just like, it's not working. You got to do something with me. I give up. Roughly 2 weeks later, that's when I got in trouble. That's the best day of my life. July 18th, July 31st, 2018. Trying to give myself more sober days. Nah, you can't front sober days. You got to earn them. But anyway, so. Anyway, squirrel. You're not a squirrel. You're a raccoon, aren't you? It looks like a raccoon. It's a raccoon. So yeah. Best day that ever happened to me. Short story, since I'm going forever on this. I had an incident happen where I felt like metaphorically a gun was put to my head. Metaphorically. And I was given a choice in my head. Do you want to live or do you want to die? Get busy living or get busy dying, son. But it caused me to reevaluate what was going on in my life at that time. I wasn't living. I was alive, but I wasn't living. I was dead. I was the walking dead. A couple days, maybe a week or two after that, I got arrested, and it was an answer to prayer. That incident happened where I was just like, God, I need you to do something with me. And I'll do another video of just specifically how that day went down. Or at least my own perspective. And so, I was rescued from myself. And once I came down and was placed into a correctional facility, I get classified, and there's a Bible and a stick of deodorant. I don't know if anybody's ever been to jail, but a Bible and a stick of deodorant, that's a win-win. And I knew that this was a fresh start, that I didn't have to ever repeat this again. I just had to learn how to do it right and take suggestions and be willing. I had to remain teachable, as they say. But, you know, that is neither here nor there, and that's for another video, because this thing's like half an hour long right now. Nobody will ever watch this, but I just wanted to get it off my chest. Like I said, I don't do this stuff for anybody else, but if it helps somebody, cool. If you can suffer through me for half an hour, buy a cup of coffee. Alright, have a good day, guys. I love you.